All right, well, welcome to the R&R Show. Sit back and relax and enjoy the best little sports show ever. I'm your host, Michael Roope, and to the left of me is my co-host, William Rumsey. Hello, William.
Hooday.
All right, well, William, we're back in the studio, coming off a big monster win by the Bengals. It was basically must win. If they did not win last week, I'm going to have to say that this season was going to be a lost season.
Yeah, we didn't know if a big monster win was coming down the tracks at any point with the way
No.
the whole operation was just off. And
Yeah.
I feel like the offense kind of got back into the flow of things.
Yeah.
The defense still makes me a little nervous.
It does. It's still trying to find their footing, but there's a lot of new pieces in that offense. But that opening drive, it gave you. Here we go. It was just like the week before. They marched down the field, and then it started to slow down. But then
it did,
and then all of a sudden, we're back. And I think what was the moment where you thought we're going to be okay last week?
Him just overall him moving around back
Yeah.
in the pocket. I noticed,
That's what it's
that was
all
the
about.
biggest. I mean, and then the long bomb. Because it was crazy. Like the whole time, I'm like, why do they not throw deep? And I don't know about offensive philosophy, what defenses are doing to them.
He just couldn't get the ball down the field.
Yeah.
That was the whole crux of the situation.
Yeah.
And when a defense knows that you can't plant and get any torque on the ball, and you're just basically shot putting, they were teeing off. I mean, these games that the Bengals were losing, they shouldn't have lost if we had a healthy Joe Burrow.
Right.
He says he's basically 99% healthy right now.
Is he at 99?
That's what he's saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the one point I can't pick, that one play in the pocket where he kind of spun out, whirled, and I think it was like a 4-yard game, but he just, when he did that, and then he took a couple other hits, I'm like, oh my God, is he going to get up and start limping?
Yeah,
I never saw a limp.
Never happened. And I think he was gun shy. I don't really know if last week was
Yeah.
I think he was hesitant even. He might even been good the following week, but he was just hesitant because he did not want to re-injure and go setting back another 3 or 4 weeks. But it feels like we're finally here. I will say a little caveat to that. Joe B, with the weather getting a little cooler and damp and stuff, that worries me still.
Sure. But, all things, last week it was just completely different.
Yeah.
The way that the season went. But like I said, I am worried about the defense still. They're still giving up. That secondary is still trying to gel.
Yeah.
It seems like there's kind of a little bit of a safety battle now with Jordan Battle and Nick Scott.
Yeah. I like Jordan Battle.
Do you think he's better than Nick Scott?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do too.
I say let's pull the plug early. You have Nick Scott there as a veteran presence and in case he needs a breather or whatever have you. But I just say let's get the new regime in there, let them grow together. But all things considered, I just think that the way that whole operation last week looked, it made me happy. When things break down, that's what made Joe. He was able to just shift around in the pocket, and then when you have elite receivers that know what you're thinking, and Joe knows what they're thinking. Big plays happen, and I think we saw that.
It's crazy, if you paid attention to the media over the first quarter of the season, how quickly the media just turned on Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
It was almost like they didn't factor in they did, but they were just because I see QB power rankings or whatever, and they'll put Burrow at 15. They'll put Dak Prescott and Kyler. Yeah. I even saw one the other day that had Kyler Murray ahead of Joe Burrow, and I'm like, how does that even?
That doesn't. These are people that just don't know what they're talking about.
That's true.
And
they need to tune into the R&R.
Well, yes, they do. And quite frankly, I was never off the Joe Burrow. I was a little more upset at Bengals management and how they handled that.
Yeah.
If they saw him practice, he could not throw the ball downfield or get any torque on that ball. Why even have him out there? They were putting not only Joe at more risk, they were the whole operation was at risk.
I blame it on the front office a little bit for not solidifying the backup QB position.
Agreed.
It just seems like they were afraid to put, was it Jake Browning out there? It's like you can't have, that's why you have backup quarterback
if you're afraid to put him out there, then that tells you all you need to know.
You know, I get it that they're, their salary cap, they're up against it with the new Burrow contract. And speaking of new contracts, with T. Higgins out last week, and the offense seemed to be I mean, I think we all want T. Higgins back in there.
But I don't want him back in there unless he is fully healthy.
Yeah, he's questionable.
We've seen it with Joe. If you're not going to be able to do the things you need to do to, be obviously a great addition to what their game plan is, then just sit out.
Yeah, he's got a broken rib.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I know he's eager to put up numbers for his contract. Brewing. I don't think that would have anything negative to go into his contract.
I don't either.
He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid by another team. It's just not going to be Cincinnati. Yeah. So that being said, do you think T will play this week? I think he will.
I think he will too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
after Jamar got his last week, he probably really wants to. How about Jamar Chase? I mean, what the hell was that last week?
That was awesome.
That was unreal.
Well, anytime you put up that many catches, anytime you get over the double digits in catches, it's a special game. But when you get up to 15 with 3 tutties, I mean, that is spectacular.
What were they doing with him? Like, it just seemed like the whole scheme was geared towards getting him the ball.
A lot of the plays were, but some of even the broken down play, the one touchdown where he's coming across, it's just, again, Joe's able to scramble.
Yeah. He
knows what Jamar's thinking and vice versa. And that's what happens when you have an elite quarterback and an elite receiver, and they've played together for going back to their college days. That's exactly what
you're talking about scrambling. I think another big piece of what they missed was just Joe's ability to pick up chunks with his legs. I mean, he's not a burner, but there are at least 2, 3, 4 times a game where he will pick up a first down with his legs. That just adds an element.
You're exactly right, and I will say this even before Joe's.
Hold on, say that again. Did you say?
I think you're exactly right. Well, when Joe, little things. When Joe came out of college, I expected, to be honest with you, watching the national championship game and some of the other games he participated in, there was a bigger running element to him. Before that knee injury, I expected Joe to probably get anywhere from 30 to 50 yards a game in the NFL. That's how good I thought he looked running the football. Yeah. But, a couple injuries here afterwards, you're not going to run as much, but to still have that, in his arsenal where he can still scramble and get you a sneaky 10 to 15 yards here and there. Yeah. Hey, that adds another element that they have to adjust for. So
I think it can only help Joe Mixon too. I think Mixon's been pretty
running
solid.
hard.
Yeah,
running hard. He looks like he's running for a new contract with another team.
Yeah, and I said it last week. It's like, when they run the ball, they're not going to hit a lot of home runs. I think last year they had very few runs over 10 yards. But they don't need the 1 to 2 yards or a negative play. They need 3 or 4 yards. And like Joe Burrow said, it's like, if you give me 3 or 4 yards on that first, that's what our offense needs. And if you don't have that.
Well, let me ask you this. It's you bringing up the running game. And during that Super Bowl run, we had a garbage line. But, during that second half of the season, they were running all over people. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on. I really don't understand why we're not able to run like that, because we got better linemen up front. Yeah. It's just maybe they're just more of a diverse group where they can pass block a lot better, obviously. But, talking about the line.
Yeah, let's address it.
Let's get him out of there. Jonah Williams needs to go.
Is he the only problem on that line at this point?
He's causing a lot of the problems. Yeah. I mean, the defense, whoever's lining up against him, is beating that guy like a drum.
I think you mentioned it, like, why don't they give Jackson Carman another shot? I just think that Bengals are probably done with him unless an injury happens.
They got to be done with Jonah.
I disagree.
Well, I saw that the Giants and Jets were reaching out to La'el Collins. And I'm like, I didn't really like what I saw out of him when he was with the Bengals, but I got to be honest with you. It's got to be. I mean, Jonah, he just looks disinterested, and I think it's a little bit. He's still sulking about getting moved to the right side, but
and that's going to be a problem when we get speed rushers. I mean,
yeah.
Cleveland, Baltimore,
Yeah, San Fran, you don't think Nick
my God.
Bosa's going to I'm going to line up over there with Jonah?
He's gonna eat his lunch.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do
TJ
about
Watt.
it.
Oh.
So when you see stuff like that, and then you think about, okay, well, do you bring a back over to chipping? Do you then put a tight end to motion to double team him? I don't know what the answer is, but that game scares me. But I tell you what makes me happy about that game is you got an extra week to prepare for it.
Yeah, that's true. Coming off the bye.
So
speaking of tight ends, what do we think of Irv Smith? I saw an article on The Athletic that talked about players from each team that could or should be traded. Irv Smith, they just basically said he's not fitting in with the offense.
I expected a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean,
he looks bigger than what he just looks like almost too big for the tight end position.
I don't know. When I seen some of these other guys they're wheeling out there, I'm like, who the hell was that? When they, where Joe at Tennessee was featuring the two tight ends.
Oh my God,
I didn't know who these guys are.
That Tennessee game, I don't know if we've had a show since then. I don't think we have.
I don't know.
That Tennessee game was just. It was a
shit
sad
show.
day to be a Bengals fan.
A shit show.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean it was. I mean there was.
Joe couldn't move.
I turned it off after a half. I was like, there's nothing more to see here.
That defensive line just ate the offensive line.
And I think I think that Tennessee was laying in the weeds from last year. Mm-hmm. Was that Karras that was popping off at the end of the game?
Yeah.
They
had a lot of motivation.
They did, and you could tell, that they came to want to make a point, and they did. So,
they did.
But that being said,
All right, so we addressed the offense. What about the defense?
The defense, I will say this, and you can attest to our many fans out there that I was down on Trey Hendrickson, going out there the first couple of weeks, and when we were watching that game, and I was so down on him. And it was bad mouthing. It's almost like he heard me.
It was.
And ever since then,
it was insane,
it was the Rams game.
Because they showed a replay of his rush, and it just looked slow and it looked bad, and you just went in on him, and literally, I think he had 3 sacks.
After
three sacks in that game. After that. I was like, what the hell just happened?
I know.
But he's been a man on a mission.
He looks good now.
Now, is he somebody? This isn't my question. I saw it online. Is he the best free agent signing ever by the Cincinnati Bengals?
It's probably close.
I don't even know who else would.
Bengals have never been big free agent players, so I mean,
definitely not Antonio Bryant.
No. I mean, it's.
I'm trying to even think. I'd have to sit down and really think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably up there, if not the one. I mean, obviously the only other.
But they've had a lot, like DJ Reader. Awuzie, just in the last 3 years, like you said, before that they never really signed free agents.
Well, let me ask you this: I mean, do you think that the Bengals, with the defense just kind of a little choppy right now, and again, there's a lot of new faces in there.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Bengals would make a play during the trade deadline? I mean, we have Denver wanting to sell off some pieces, and I don't know what it would take to get Patrick Surtain. I'm sure it's going to take a number 1 pick. Yeah. Would you make that play?
For Surtain or a pass rusher?
Or Surtain.
Certain? Is it
Surtain?
A first-round pick?
It's tough. Because you got to
pay. They probably won't.
They won't do it. But
then he's up for a new contract soon, right?
Yeah. But there is some speed rushers out there that I
think would. Just to put a bow on that. I mean, CTB and DJ Turner have been pretty good.
Very good.
Very solid. So I don't think that's the weakness of the Bengals. I think you keep hitting the nail on the head with they need a speed pass rusher, but those guys just don't become available. But you need
the Bills snatched up Von Miller real quick.
That's true.
So, you can, and there was that Bradley Chubb that went to Miami.
Yeah, but he's been kind of...
I'm telling you that, I mean, it's just takes a different place, a different scheme. I just don't know. Maybe Louis A's scheme doesn't call
for speed rush or more containment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just, we don't know what the scheme's calling for. We only see what we're watching with our eyeballs. I don't know. And I'm a Hubbard supporter. I like when homegrown kids stick around and play. But I don't know. We need to get him off of passing downs. And I think that they tried to do that with their number one pick. But
I thought they were going to try to maybe kick him inside.
The number one pick?
No, Hubbard, on pass rushing downs, kick him inside. And
what do you think about our number one pick?
I don't know. Who is it? What's his name? He's MIA.
Yeah, I mean
he had a sack against Tennessee or Arizona.
I want more.
I think it just takes pass rushers a little bit more time to develop.
What, to learn their dip speed move around the corner?
I'm trying to give him. I
want more, William.
Yeah, it's the Bengals, those 3 years on Burrow, Chase, those drafts back to back, they seem to hit on everything. Last couple drafts, I'm not so sure. And granted, they're drafting at the back end of the draft.
Correct, which we want. But again, I want more. I mean, that guy fell. Maybe the other teams knew something. He fell for a reason.
That's true.
I mean, and then I look at Sam Laporta, and I'm like, we could have had him.
The Bengals just don't value the tight end position.
They don't. They
don't pump money into it, and they
just do retreads every year.
I guess that's.
And I think that they thought that they could continually hit gold because they've done it so many years in a row.
Is it because Burrow's not really going to use them that much?
But
I think it's
I'm going to give Irv a pass though until now we've got the Joe that we've all expected. Mm-hmm. Let's see how this plays out, because I was a big proponent of Verb when they drafted him or signed him because he was going to break out with the Vikings till he got hurt. So we'll see. We'll see. But all right. So a couple other things real quick. The kicking game. What do you think?
Yeah.
The punting.
Punting.
Yeah.
Should we have spent a 6th-round pick on a punter?
Yeah, but I mean, you could do that because Evan, what was McPherson?
Yeah, but I feel like that's a little bit different.
Correct.
Yeah, he was 5th round, and
it just feels like every other team has great punters except for. I mean, I don't know. I watch that Cleveland punter, and I'm like, my goodness.
I guess I just was like, all right, he just seems like a run-of-the-mill punter, and you draft him in the 6th round. I mean, you can still get some. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he was really good in college. Maybe, he's taking a little bit of time. Maybe it's the different ball of the NFL, making it a little bit different. I don't want
to hear that.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that. Well, let's talk about this week's game, William.
Okay.
The Seattle Seahawks. We've got Geno Smith led Seahawks. What do you think they're going to be able to do offensively against the Bengals? I will say this real quick. The Sharps are all on the Seahawks this week.
They are. Our boy Colin Cowherd picked the Bengals.
He did.
Yeah.
And he's like... They're going to see why the Bengals are they're a sleeping giant that's getting ready to wake up, and he goes, the Vegas will realize that after this game.
I think the Bengals defense have their hands full with the Seahawks. You've got a good running game with Kenneth Walker.
I think that line is garbage. Their offensive line is garbage. I'm going to call it now. Trey Hendrickson gets 2 sacks.
2 sacks, okay.
You've heard it here.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
But then, and then they've got 3 solid receivers.
Yep.
Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN. It's going to be a good test for the Bengals.
It is.
They're coming off a bye.
I just don't think Seattle looks very good this year. They've and they were sputtering a little bit against the Giants before they put them away. I don't know what the Sharps are seeing in Seattle that makes them think anything different. Now, they've been drafting well, but that offensive line is so bad. I just don't see, with the crowd noise and the line, I just don't see how this is not a Bengals win.
I hope.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know another DK Metcalf came out this week and said that their new defensive back, Devin Witherspoon's going to get the best of Jamar Chase.
Yeah. That ain't going to happen.
You know, Jamar, I saw Jamar say, you know what, he's backing his guy. I get it. But every little extra motivation for Jamar Chase, I don't know that's a good strategy.
Jamar's smart because he doesn't want to tangle with DK.
No. Who does?
So he was like, well, I'll just be like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to talk crap about
No. But that's extra motivation for Jamar. I like it.
I do too.
And Witherspoon is good. He's a top 5 pick. They've got Tariq Woolen back there, so they've got a good secondary. But
I look for Jamar to have another big game. That's added motivation because, you know, they hear those comments, obviously addressed them, but Joe's going to want to make him look good and be like, okay.
But you did hit the nail. I think the jungle is going to be insane.
Back.
Yeah.
That's why I wore the cigar smoking shirt because Joe, the swag is back, baby.
It
is back.
I'm excited to see it.
I just think that I don't see I don't see a world where the Bengals don't put up 28 plus points.
Okay. So,
I just don't see it.
So what do you think the final score is going to be? Are we ready for predictions?
Well, it sounds like we are.
Oh yeah, just moved right in there.
So what say you, William?
I'm going to go 27-24 Bengals.
That's pretty good. I'm going to go 31-20.
31. Okay, you think a big win? 11-point win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the Sharps are seeing in this. I just
Bengals are favored by 3.
They are, but the Sharps love them. They're all over the Seahawks +4. I just
What's
don't
the
see
over under set out?
I didn't check that out,
Gotcha.
but I just don't see there's any way. And I will tell
What's
you
the weather supposed to be like?
I don't know, William.
Let's check that out real quick.
Well, I don't know. Let's take a look.
Oh,
Please hold.
interlude.
All right. Well, this is exciting. You don't have a weather app on your
It's supposed to
phone?
be nice. High of 56.
Perfect football
Yeah.
weather. I mean, we are right now. This is football weather. So I'm telling you right now, guys, we're in for a treat. I think here's how this thing's going to play out. The Bengals roll Sunday.
Okay.
They get a much-needed, bye week. Joey B will be fresh for that Niners game. They will have a bunch of wrinkles, and I think last week was the start of again the annual Bengals push where we reel off a bunch of row. Now I know they have a tough schedule, but I'm telling you. The Bills lost their 2 best defenders on defense.
They said that shit last year. So,
Yeah.
the Bengals tough part, and they reeled off 10.
Yeah,
10
I don't want to hear any of that. The Bills have lost their 2 best
Yeah.
defenders. The Bills are very susceptible. The Niners is going to be the tough match, but we have a bye week coming, an extra week to prepare for them. I'm telling you right now,
That Niners game is going to be tough.
It could be a Super Bowl preview.
Oh, there we go. I like it.
God, we've been wanting that Niners Bengals. We want to get that monkey off our back.
Yeah.
And I think it's setting up to be that way.
Yeah.
That without a doubt will be the game of the week.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean,
is it a night game?
I don't know.
God, do we want
Got
to
police hold again? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. I know we've been a little sporadic with our stuff, but we're gonna, we want some Bengals goodness to talk about. So
we need a roll.
Yep. So this will be weekly now, guys. See you next time.
Who dat?